Hi there, this is Sandra with the Mortgage Center. Another interesting message for our clients. I have actually been getting a lot of calls recently for people who are going through a separation or divorce and are wondering about how to set up the financing for their new life. And so there are typically two scenarios where the first scenario would be people who are selling their matrimonial home and then buying two separate homes, or one person keeping the matrimonial home and buying the other person out. So um, let's go through the first scenario, people buying and selling. Now, oftentimes I get calls like early in the process about whether or not people need a separation agreement. And if it's a non-contested separation, you both agree and you're going to divide everything equally, you're going to sell the matrimonial home and divide the equity, and there's no child or spousal support expected, you in fact do not need a separation agreement. However, before closing on that purchase, both parties will need to sign a statutory declaration at the lawyer's office saying there's no child or spousal support. And that can actually bugger things up for you if you have an offer on a house and it's closing and you haven't agreed to this. So remember, a no separation agreement is required if there's no child or spousal support anticipated, and everything, if the sale from the proceeds of the matrimonial home are going to be divided equally. Now, I have had clients where they thought this was the case and they put an offer on a house, and the ex decided not to sign that statutory declaration because they were anticipating that they would get child or spousal support. So it can really bugger things up for you, and you will not close on the purchase if this item has not been sorted out. And the main reason for that is if you are going to be receiving child or spousal support, we can include that as income. But if you are going to be paying child and spousal support, we have to include that as a liability, and then it affects the debt ratio calculation. So just some kind of caution for you. Now, we also have had many people say, I would like to keep the matrimonial home, and I'm going to buy my ex out. And one of the issues that comes up is how to come up with the value of the primary residence or any of the homes that you might have in your investment portfolio. And what I find is that people chintz out, and one party gets their realtor to put together like a comparative market analysis, and another person gets their realtor to put together a comparative market analysis. And then they kind of duke it out and try to figure out what the real value of the property is. We actually have an excellent partnership with a company called Value Connect. They are an appraisal services company, and they have a special program, especially people for that are going through separation and divorce. Now, it will cost you something, and the fees vary depending on the kind of house. However, the cost is well worth it because a realtor comparative market analysis will not often hold up in court, or will be like a contested, it can often be contested. But a third party valuation for an appraisal through somebody like Value Connect, the likelihood, this is a more concrete and accurate value. You might not like the value, but it's done by a third party certified real estate appraiser. And then you can have that copy for your own reference. And we can often use Value Connect for the financing as well. So you kind of sometimes kill two birds with one stone on that. So I have included a link to the Value Connect, and you can just kind of peruse that. If you or somebody who's going through a separation or divorce, please have them contact us early in the process so we can kind of run some scenarios for them. The most financial institutions do not even want to talk to somebody who doesn't have a signed separation or a divorce decree, but we can do some planning in partnership with their real estate agent. Now, not only their real estate agent, but more importantly, their lawyer, so they can work out the child or spousal support and they're going to understand how that affects their debt ratios and their ability to qualify for a mortgage. I have also included some interesting articles below. The Bank of Canada is likely going to make another rate announcement in the next week or so. That is obviously going to affect the interest rate on mortgages. So, my message to you on that is if you have a mortgage that's coming up for renewal in the next 4 months, please give us a call early so we can lock in that interest rate. Okay. Best way to get a hold of me, you can go to my website at skipthebank.ca and schedule an appointment there, or you can even message me through the website. There's a contact form. Thanks so much, and we love working with people. Looking forward to connecting.